It's done. Detroit just landed the veteran edge we've been begging for. Carl Lawson is a Lion, and the pass rush crisis is over. Or is it? If you're hearing this late, you might miss the moment the season turns. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report. Keep that bell on and hit subscribe right now because this is the kind of breaking inside the trenches conversation that separates hype from decisions that win in January. Here's the truth behind the headline everyone's whispering about. The Lions have an Aiden Hutchinson problem that only looks like a Hutchinson problem. Really, it's a help him problem. When you're the star who eats double teams on every 3rd and 7, the offense knows it can slide protection, chip you at a tight end, and dare the other side to beat single blocks. That other side was supposed to be Marcus Davenport, the big-bodied closer who flattens pockets and lets Hutch feast on chaos. Then the setback hit. He's out for Monday night against Baltimore, and while the staff doesn't believe it's season ending, it's a stress test for this roster's edge depth at the worst possible time. Al-Quaid Muhammad is the next man up, and he flashed last week, but a playoff team can't live on flashes. It needs a steady drumbeat of pressure, drive after drive, week after week. That's why the Lawson conversation isn't a rumor mill candy bar, it's a cap-savvy, scheme-sensible lever the front office can pull right now. And that's why I'm telling you, don't blink. Let's talk fit before we talk fear. Lawson is 30, built like a coiled spring with that low pad level that thrives in wide 9 spacing, opposite a power technician like Hutchinson. He's been paid like a premium rusher before, and there's a reason. His first step can still make tackles false step, and when he stays on schedule with his counter, he turns vertical sets into panic. Last season, he was used as a pass rush specialist and still delivered a handful of sacks, which is exactly the role we be buying situational heat, not a 60-snap workhorse. The label on him is oft-injured, and that scares execs who've been burned by soft tissue and week-to-week updates that become month-to-month disappearances. I get it, but there's a lane here that minimizes risk, aligns with Detroit's culture, and solves a tactical hole. A short, incentive-heavy deal that pays for production, not for hope. You let him pin his ears back on money downs. You marry him to gains and stunts with Alan McNeil inside. You make the protection choose between Hutch's violence and Lawson's burst. And you change the math without changing the DNA of this defense. Why the urgency? Because we've seen the movie where one injury erodes the edge and the whole unit tilts. When the pass rush thins, coverage windows stretch, blitzes get predictable, and suddenly your complementary football looks like you're playing catch-up even with a lead. Remember how that felt in the biggest moments. We needed a closer, and the pocket stayed clean for way too long. Now zoom to Monday. Baltimore isn't a team you almost affect. If the pocket holds for that fraction longer, the quarterback they face turns scramble lanes into explosives. And your 3rd and manageable becomes a fresh set of downs with your defense gasping. Detroit doesn't need a one-man miracle. It needs one more honest threat so Hutchinson's relentless engine gets rewarded and your interior guys can finish. That's the football case for Lawson in one breath. Compress the pocket faster, force throw points earlier, and make offenses choose their poison instead of casually sipping the antidote. But there's a second layer, the market. The veteran we all daydreamed about reuniting didn't circle back. He's wearing different colors now, and that door is closed. The other free options? Thin. That's why the smartest front offices pounce before the league realize a role-specific win is still a win. Lawson hasn't even done the workout carousel this year, and that can look like a red flag, or it can be leverage for a team that knows exactly what it wants. A 3rd down creator who plays 25 snaps at playoff intensity, not 55 snaps at training camp pace. Detroit has that clarity. It's how this staff coaches. It's how this locker room holds itself. Do your job. Do it violently. And do it in the moment that changes the day. If you can't, we'll find someone who will. This is the kind of mood that tells the room, we're not crossing our fingers. We're solving problems. Let's get tactical, because that's where the real excitement lives. Pitcher third and 8 at Ford Field, crowd surging, McNeil shaded strong, Hutchinson in a 2-point, Lawson wide to the field. The back scans left the chip you've already won. If the chip goes to Hutch, Lawson gets the runway. If it goes to Lawson, Hutch's inside counter is free, and the guard's eyes are late. Now sprinkle in a Tay, who has to release late or widen with a fake chip, and your hook zones tighten while the ball comes out a beat sooner. That one beat is where picks happen, where PBUs become tips and tips become turnovers. And if you're worried about the run fits, remember, you're not asking Lawson the 2-gap. You're asking him to set a firm edge when needed and hunt when called. Keep his pitch count rational, marry him to your simulated pressure so the QB can't just set and rip. And you can squeeze a playoff team level of value out of a prove-it pack without distorting your base identity. Now, I hear the pushback, and it's fair. What about the injuries? What about Davenport's timeline? What if we sign Lawson, and he's not ready for 2 to 3 weeks? Here's the answer. You're not buying September snaps. You're buying January oxygen. Davenport, by all indications, is not lost for the season, which is massive. You bring Lawson in now, you onboard him into the terminology and the tells alignment cues, motion alerts, backfield reads, so that when Davenport is back, you're not praying for one guy's health. You're rolling waves. A 4-man rush that includes Hutchinson, Davenport, Lawson on passing downs with McNeil or a sub-package interior penetrator. That's how you survive the chess matches against the quarterbacks you have to beat to get where this franchise wants to go. Don't forget the psychology here. When offenses see multiple threats on tape, their early scripts get conservative, and that's when Dan and Aaron Glenn can dictate terms instead of reacting. You know this staff, they don't want to play keep it close. They want to slam the door when the game is begging to be slammed. And let's talk culture, because around here, it matters more than T-shirt slogans. This is a room that rewards accountability and effort. Lawson's motor, when healthy, has always matched his tape talk. He's not a club swinger who jogs on run plays. He fights through the board with his hands, he retraces. You will chase backside screens because that's how he was raised in this league. Put that in a room with Hutchinson's obsession and Jack Campbell's straight-line thump, and it becomes contagious. If it doesn't fit, this staff has proved it won't keep a nameplate just to make a headline happy. That's why an incentive-heavy structure is so clean. You don't promise snaps. You promise a fair shot to earn them. Let me be crystal. I'm not telling you to crown anybody. I'm telling you that if you watched last week and felt that uneasy silence every time, Hutchinson got 2 sets of hands and the other edge didn't threaten enough, you're seeing the same thing the front office is seeing. Muhammad is absolutely going to get his shot, and he deserves it. But the best teams don't choose between next man up and outside help. They layer answers. They keep the offense guessing and the room hungry. Lawson is that layer at the right price with the right usage. And if you're still stuck on last year's late season memories, the pocket staying too clean in the biggest, quarter of the biggest game, then you already know how high the bar has to be. If you're rocking with this, tap subscribe and drop a like. This community drives real football talk, not just rumors for clicks. Here's my personal view after grinding the context, the roles, and the calendar. I signed Carl Lawson on a 1-year, incentive-loaded deal today. I ramp him as a third down specialist over 2 weeks, 15 to 20 snaps early, then up to 25 to 30 against opponents whose protections we can manipulate with motion and formation. I pair him with stunts inside when teams slide to Hutch. I demand strict edge integrity on early downs. And I make it clear his paycheck is tied to hurries, hits, and finishes, not just to presence. When Davenport returns, I keep Lawson in the money down package and let the depth breathe. Worst case, you raise the floor of your rush rotation, take stress off Hutch, and stop asking the back end to hold for forever. Best case, you unlock the version of this defense that wins you a divisional round on the road because the quarterback never gets comfortable. That's the swing I'm taking, and I take it with eyes open Now it's your turn, Detroit. Do you make the move and bring Lawson in as the closer across from Hutch? Or do you ride the in-house wave and trust that Davenport's return plus Muhammad's rise is enough? Tell me who you want on the field on 3rd and 8 with the crowd in full voice and the season on the line. Drop your takes below. Share this with the Lions fan in your life who lives in the trenches like we do. And keep it here, because if this front office pulls the trigger, you'll hear about it first with the why, the how, and what it means for January football at Ford Field.